Namaste. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining in with Psychic Frank's Mystery School. Now, I wonder sometimes why I do what I do because it's not popular. Actually, most people think people like do what I do are freaks, and we are. Nice, who wants to be normal? But anyway, I was just at Safeway up here on Potrero Hill, and this really good-looking young man had a lot of style. He had all these tats. I'm old enough to be his grandfather, but he came right up to me and said, "Wow, I'm so glad to run into you." And then he said, "Remember, I saw you a few years ago. I was just sucking on a lozenge. I think the allergies are affecting my." I know they are, and I got to eat some local honey. So anyway, this young man said to me a few years ago. See, after I do a reading, I let it go. I'd be a mess. How could I carry on? With all that, all carrying around all that. I learned really early if I was going to do anything with this, I'd have to let it all go. So long story short, just a few minutes ago, I had some extra time, so I was strolling around Safeway looking for something for my bird, and this young man said, "Remember a few years ago, some woman was talking to you about her birthday, and then I followed you off the bus." I said, "Oh yeah, I remember that." And he said, "Well," he said, "I have been sober for 2 years now, and everything you said happened, and he really thanked me." And I gave him the Mystery School YouTube address, and I told him to check out my videos. Excuse me. It's also no air in here. And so that's so nice. And then after he left, I just like, wow, no drug, no amount of money, nothing can make you feel as another human being can make you feel that good. It was that, however good he feels and whatever good I did to him, for him, by just talking to him, he gave me his birthday, and I did some work on him right in the parking lot of Safeway up here. I remember that. It was like 2 years ago. But, well, that just, as I said, I'm still glowing. Can you see it? It's just little stuff like that. That's not a little stuff. Human beings. That's why, I don't, Carl Jung said, human beings have the most extraordinary capacity for evil. We can perpetrate some of the most horrendous acts. Yeah, but it's also the innate potential. The innate, Jung said, every human life contains a potential. Potential. Okay, if that potential is not fulfilled, then the life is wasted. Actually, I made a note today. It said, if you're not doing what you love, you're wasting your time. Yeah, believe in your dreams. They have to come true. You believe in them so hard. What did this say? This is a note I fell out of my desk from years ago, and it says, "I don't smoke weed to escape reality. I smoke weed to enjoy reality even more." Yeah, I love this. It says, "Because I'm related to something that is not bound by time and space, then I will share in whatever God's eternity is." How beautiful is that? Okay, so yeah, today was history. History was made. Comey, Comey, ex-FBI director, James Comey, Big Jim. I love him. I like Jim. Yeah, he uses the term Lordy. Is he married to a woman of color? I'm not a racist, everybody knows that, but what white man from West Virginia uses the word Lordy? Is that, oh Lordy? I know that's, just to me, it sounds like he must have some people of color around him, Anyway, that was just my first impression. Anyway, just to give you I want to add something to that. Then we've got plenty of time, so I'm going to get to the full moon tomorrow. So this will be, if you're not, this will be re-aired Saturday on channel 29. I'm looking for my calendars around here somewhere. Well, we'll get back to that. Oh, here it is, right in front of me. I'm turning into Aunt Clara from Bewitched. Just kidding, just kidding. I say that to my soul because, you know, everything you say, your soul doesn't know if you're joking or not. So you have to really, don't even jokingly say anything unless you're a stand-up comic, then self-deprivation is funny. Excuse me, my lungs are in great shape. It's just if I open this door, then the air won't, then we'll get all the noise from there. But I should have brought like a spray hydrating bottle to moisten up the air. Excuse me for that. Okay, so yeah, so but I thought I wanted to add something to the color so you could enhance your understanding of what Donald Trump is all about, because this is something. And I was walking through the lobby where I live in this apartment building, and people are all upwardly mobile, young people live there, and this was Esquire magazine, May's edition. So this is May of 2017, Esquire magazine. And I took it upstairs to have a look at it. I never buy magazines, you know, and I like to keep up. And this is the article I'm talking about. Here, there it is. Roy Cohn made this man. This is from 1976, and they didn't even change, 78. Yeah, Roy Cohn was once the most feared lawyer in New York City, a ruthless master of dirty tricks. He smeared the reputations of his political enemies, helped send the Rosenbergs to the electric chair, and had more than one mafia don on speed dial. But this most enduring legacy is Donald Trump, big red letters, whom he took under his wing in the 1970s. In this excerpt from Ken Aulett's 1978 Esquire profile, we meet the man who tutored the president in the dark arts of gossip, power, and politics. This man. Yeah, his hair was pretty dark brown then. How does when you're in 30, 40 years old, you have brown hair, little starting to gray at the temples. He wasn't morbidly obese then, and now it's blonde. I guess when he became full-fledged Aryan, he had that blonde hair. You know, I could see, you know, white hair, silver, blue rinse even, but orange. Well, blonde, you know, the Aryan blonde. In his eyes, when he looks in the mirror, Trump probably sees this Nazi with this blonde, wavy hair and this cutting figure. I don't know. I'm making excuses for the man. It's like a dead man walking, you know. It's like it's just a matter of time now before the wheels of justice. Because he's president, not much can happen to him except he'll have to impeach him or he'll have to resign in shame. But the people around him will definitely all be doing time. I said by July, and remember we're still in that 4 weeks from the yard, that 4-week yard that happened on the last full moon. I'm going to have plenty of time to get to the Sagittarius full moon before I leave today, but I want to just add some, I underlined in yellow, highlighted some key things I'd like you to get hip to about the Roy publicity generates. Yeah, the more clients he attracts. He's the only person I've ever known as a prosecutor who would enjoy being indicted. He enjoys the limelight. The publicity garner guarantees that Roy's phone calls will be returned. I can get attention, no questions about it. They know my name. I remember Roy Cohn. Yeah, he died of AIDS, actually. In the beginning of the AIDS epidemic, he was one of the first to go. What did I do? His standard technique is to dispatch a threatening letter on behalf of a client. Hey, mister, this is now the 11th hour before the monster strikes, is how Roy puts it. Wow, isn't that very similar to like the modus operandi of Trump? You know, saying, you know, this is like do it my way or the highway. You know, the mere sending of a letter from Roy Cohn. This is like I say it's in the present tense because it's 78. So keep that in mind as you're hearing what I'm saying here. The mere sending of a letter from Roy Cohn has saved us a lot of money, says builder Donald Trump. Quote unquote, when people know that Roy is involved, they'd rather not get involved in the lawsuits and everything else that's involved. Publishers, TV networks, editors are accustomed to receiving preemptory phone calls or threatening letters from Cohen and cringe at the court cost of taking him on. This is who mentored. This is the mentor of President. I can't say the words, but you know what? Put them together. I'm never going to say he's president, but that orange man who's the coup, the family now, the coup d'etat. Cohen is the right-wing coup d'etat, the Aryan brotherhood of Aryan. You know, when Donald Trump talks about America, he's not talking about the America that our forefathers and our World War II fathers fought and died for. No, they're talking about a different America. This is a white America. This is like a twisted America, a sick America, you know. But so when you hear him say all this stuff about America, you got to fill in the blanks. Read underneath that. He should have like a translator. You know, this is what he says, but what he really means is, I want the brotherhood. I want black people to die. I want Cohen is a unique kind of bully, fearless. During the Army McCarthy hearings in '54, he lunged at and tried to punch his co-counsel, Robert Kennedy, bless his soul. He is fortunate people interceded before he could swing at Kennedy. I know that if I were in a fight, says publicist Howard Roseberg. Yeah, this guy, Cohen, was only 5 feet 8 inches tall, 144 pounds. That's me. I'm 144 pounds and I'm 5'8", maybe a smidgen under, if the truth be told. The suit that he is wearing is dark blue. Yeah, he talks about his, the hairline is neat, short hair. Oh yeah, his hooded, bloodshot eyes give him the appearance of a convict. A deep scar wiggles like a river down the center of his thick nose. Lines streak from either side of the nose to the mouth, which he lubricates with lizard-like strokes from his tongue. Short hair hugs his head, which is balding on top. The hairline is neatly shaved to form an arch above his ears, extending down around his entire back of his head. Two thin red lines curve around each of Roy's ears. Oh, I guess he was wearing glasses. The result, he admits, cosmetic surgery bags the heavy lines. He looks like a killer except for the body and the deportment. He's only 5 foot. Yeah, he says there. Legend has grown up about Roy Cohn. I'm almost done here. It says, it is said by many that he will lie, cheat, invent facts, smoke with bullying rage, or ooze with charm. Whatever is required, says one of his Columbia Law School classmates who loathes him. There is a feeling in the legal profession that if he's a formidable adversary, not because he's a brilliant lawyer, but because he will stop at nothing. This is the man who invented, this is the monster Frankenstein, this is the Dr. Frankenstein who created the monster, the orange monster that's destroying America and killing kids. Good for you, Kathy Griffith. Then it ends, rules of the game don't count as much as winning. And then it says, to read the full-length story, Don't Mess with Roy Cohn, visit Esquire.com. So that's my little fill-in-the-blanks about May issue of Esquire magazine and the man who created. See, I'm almost 70. I'm going to be 68 this year. And I'm 68 and a half. Only kids say that. No one ever says I'm 68 and a half. I just love it, you know, because I almost died when I was early and heavily into drugs from overdoses, and then just clean and sober. I had to deal with a cancer thing. And that was '06. I almost left the planet again. I came real close. But it was not my time. And it's through that I learned so much. Cancer is not a death sentence if you realize it's the ultimate lesson. You got to start really understanding that this is happening for me, not to me. Make the adjustments in your life. Just the other day, I was on the bus and this guy could hardly walk, a young man half my age, and I knew, I could see he couldn't wait to light up a cigarette. If you had the cure for cancer here and a pack of cigarettes here, intellectually they want to go for the cure, but the habits, it's a nasty habit. But habits can be changed. Nothing is hopeless. Like this kid, I don't know what I said to him. I owe up to be his grandfather, who really lit up my afternoon a few minutes ago, when he said, "Yeah." The first thing he said was, "I've been sober 2 years." I don't know if I don't go around 12-stepping people. I don't know. I don't remember what I said. It was 2 years ago, and I've done thousands of readings in between. But I remember him though. But I said, "Wow, you really changed." And he was like, "Yeah, he's got a life now. He's being his own true self. To thyself be true." Yeah, as I said, it's worth repeating. All the money in the world. That's why I feel sorry for Donald Trump. I really do, because he's never. I felt, most people say, "How could you enjoy life? You live from hand to mouth." Blah 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 blah. The universe takes care of me. I just materialize what I want in my head. And if you could deny an experience out of existence, you can affirm an experience into existence. Okay, so let's get to the good stuff now. This is, June is busting out all over. Carousel. That's a wonderful, I listen to I love show tunes. I love, back when I first moved here from New York City, I was in Off-Broadway in New York. The Cockettes took me under their wing, Divine and Sylvester, and forced me upon the wicked stage at the Palace Theater in Chinatown, where we did a few Cockette shows. Actually, the last few shows there. Yeah, that was an interesting time in space. So I love show tunes, singing around the piano. Gays here don't do that. In clubs in New York City, gay clubs in New York City, they have a piano bar and people sing Showboat, all kinds of tunes, Loving That Man of Mine. They don't do that here. San Francisco is just a different state of mind. If you want that, I guess you take a weekend in New York City. But I digress. Okay, so June is busting out all over, and it's a good month actually. Let's get into all what's going on in June. 1 second. I have a lot of notes about June here. Of course, all these planets go direct. Venus and Mercury, 2 planets go direct. Oh, here it is. A friend of mine said, their last show, you forgot a book and you were wasting all this time looking for it. Man, get it together, I was saying. So I'm aware that some people get annoyed. They want me to, man, get it together. Okay, so let's see what we have. Jupiter goes direct on this full moon tomorrow. So when you're seeing this Saturday at 7:30, keep in mind the full moon is over, but you'll still be feeling it because the moon will still be in Libra. Will be in Capricorn this weekend. So it says, Sagittarius full moon can cut through illusion and reconnect us with our truth. The moon can join Saturn. See, the moon can join Saturn, takes higher mind to a whole new level. Yeah, we've had 5 months of Venus in Aries to get our belief system all in the present, and now, it's very unusual. Venus usually changed signs there 3 weeks. There she goes around the wheel, but she went back and forth a little bit into Pisces, but mostly 5 months in full months in Aries, and now Venus on the 6th. Both Venus entered Taurus, which she rules. Venus rules Taurus. Mercury entered Mercury, which it rules. So both Mercury and Venus, Mercury in Gemini and Venus in Taurus are in the planets, the constellations that they rule. So that's good. That with Mercury, it makes for greater, stronger, clearer objectivity, thinking, communicating. And for Taurus, it's all about actually sensuousness, enjoying the earthly delights. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. Actually, I was watching Comey this morning being grilled by Dianne Feinstein, and I was getting medicated, and my guides, I don't know where, I get the funniest things come through my head. But I was actually waiting for Dianne Feinstein to hand him a doll and asking him to, could he please point to the parts where the man touched him. It looked like one of those, but anyway, I guess you had to be there. That, you know, I like Comey. I just say it. You know, we've had worse, and I think, you know, he's changing. And then Mars entered Cancer. We're going to talk about that. You know, Mars in Cancer. It's all about when's that cuddly Cancer? Isn't that right? Mars enters Cancer. Caring, compassion's rule, Mars in Cancer. Try a little tenderness. Remember Al Green, Reverend? Oh, he's still around. I shouldn't talk to you about it. But Otis Redding did it the best. Try a little tenderness. Well, yeah, try a little tenderness, because you're going to have, after the summer solstice on the 21st, introduces a lot of emotional energy as the sun enters Cancer, Mercury also in Cancer, with the assistance from Mars in Cancer. That's a whole lot of moody stuff going on, helping us to get in touch with our feelings. Yeah, we all deny our feelings. I saw, I don't know how the Computer Angels put a video from one of Carl Jung's friends. It was old video, who said the thing he liked, he knew Carl Jung personally, and he said the thing he liked about Carl Jung was he never, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said he never gave him a bad time, he never gave himself a bad time for having a human feeling or emotion. And it took me back, you know, because, you know, being raised in an Italian household, I was adopted into and I am biologically half Italian. I know for a fact my biological mother was Italian. So and Italians are just emotional. We cry. We're Nordic people, British. They don't have very stiff upper lip. You know, they don't carry their emotions around. I mean, it's beautiful. Things of beauty. Sunrise makes me cry. Everything's just too much. It's just, in the nicest way, it's just all too much. Sometimes I just I embarrass myself. Like when this kid was telling me how I changed his life with that brief little conversation. It was like, life is so wonderful, you know. So I'm not, as I said, I think that when I'm on my deathbed, I'll remember a collage of all that's happened so much over the last 40 years. People I haven't seen in years will recognize me and tell me how a chance meeting with me totally changed their life. Just recently, I had a woman come in from San Jose, and as she left, she looked at me and said, this is nothing like I thought it was going to be. So I told my sister, I have a best friend, she's my sister, actually, even though we're not biologically related. And she said, you're not for the squeamish or the faint of heart, Frank. And yes, you're right. I always remembered of that. Okay. It said, is this not life's purpose, ... to know that you belong, that you are safe and eternal, to know that in your spirit reality you are already one with God? So that's why when I see these people like Trump and all these nasty Republicans, I just feel like they're throwing their lives away. Don't they know that they're so much better than what they're doing? You know, I'm not going to throw away almost 70 years because since, you know, just today I was talking to somebody about tequila. There was we were in the shed looking for something, and there was a little charm for a tequila company from the 1800s, And I said to this dude, Raphael, I said, oh, yeah, it reminds me of my old drinking days. He said, you don't drink? And I said, oh, no, 82. I sobered up in 82. I said, you would have liked me before. The old Frank was not someone you would want to have been around. But anyway, I digress. Okay, so Sagittarius full moon can cut through illusions and reconnect us with our truth. Well, you know, the reason I don't think enough people out there are talking about, if you smoke cannabis, you've got no business sucking up suds, urine in a can. And because it's their companies that are, right now, they're all jumping on board the gold mine, the new gold rush, the cannabis gold rush. But, you know, we're Axis of Love, you know. Denise Dory, watch her. She's on the 1st and the 3rd Thursday at 6 o'clock right here. And then there's a Liberal Buzz. You could go to SFC TV, SF Commons TV, and check their schedules, as Comcast is still not doing what they should do with tagging our shows. Okay, so Sagittarius full moons can cut through the illusion. So that's what's happening. That's why we had the today's hearing. And that private hearing probably had some, yeah, Mueller is like the head guy that's in charge of this big investigation. He's like the Columbo. Yeah, this guy is like, he's very square-jawed, seasoned, impeccable reputation. He's going to, yeah, he's got some real scalps on his belt. That's a horrible phrase. It's like goring the ox. That's another phrase I heard a couple of times. The CIA uses that. The FBI uses that. Like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Ooh, I love birds. Why do you want to kill birds? Or saying I gotta waste some time. Or yeah, concentrate on what comes out of your mouth. Words cast spells. That's why it's called spelling. So it makes it. I'm not surprised. The planets don't make things happen. They simply reflect what's going on. But see, tomorrow the moon's going to conjoin the Saturn. So it's not every day you get a full moon with the Saturn conjoining the moon. That makes it very powerful. Bringing a potentiality harsh but very useful reality check to the ways. Yeah, today I was watching the reviews, and it's the cognitive dissonance people versus the sane. It's as simple as that. There's these people, like Trump said, I could go down Fifth Avenue and kill someone and they'd love me even more. So yeah, there's these people who are just really need to be like taken away bodily and put into a deprogramming clinic like they used to do for the Moonies. Rich folks used to have their kids abducted from these Mooney farms back in the 70s and deprogram them. You know, these people are, well, like Bernie Sanders, nobody but Bernie said it, and he's not even saying it anymore. The reason this opiate epidemic is because people are in pain. They're not feeling connected. They don't know they're one with God. They haven't discovered the Buddha in them. Like I was saying, I was telling Raphael in the storeroom about that tequila button. I said, well, you know, I sobered up in my early 30s. I said, and I wouldn't have regretted one bit. I said, you know, people don't understand until you have your first Saturn return. Let it all hang out. Do what you want to do, you know. If it feels, you know, do what you want to do. It's your thing. Do what you want to do, baby. But then you'll have nothing to transcend. You know, I had a lot to transcend, and now I like where I am. And even though no one got hurt except myself, I burned off a lot of karma. There was a lot of stuff went on then. So yeah, if I made it this long, I believe I'm at 70 is the new 50. So I'll be here way past 100, and hopefully gave cable access democracy TV. Oh, Richard Branson, I missed him the other day, but I like his show a lot. He and Nick Fell, they're here the 2nd and the 4th Wednesday at 5 on channel 76, and then they always re-air us on channel 29. So check the schedule. And yeah, the new Bayvac is great. The new SF Commons rather is good stuff. Okay, and now Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, is the presiding deity of this full moon, and extra powerful as it stations direct just after this full moon peaks. Jupiter in Venus-ruled Libra highlights the principles of love, peace, beauty, equality, and justice, and also points to relationships as an arena where full moon themes of truth and illusion are likely to play out. Jupiter has been retrograde since February 5th or 6th, a time to do inner work, to prepare us to take the risks and grow in a new direction. So hopefully, think of all the dots you've connected, all the perceptions you've made your own. You know, the other day I had an amazing experience. This woman was sitting with me, and I mentioned that she needed to tell her boyfriend to say, I wrote down several affirmations, and then I put times 500. And she, when I handed her the paper and said that to her, she rolled her eyes. And I immediately like lost it for a second, and I said, you know, that's like the 500th time I've seen that look. Why is it every time I say 500, people go like, oh yeah, Frank, like that's some kind of a great number. Well, like I always say, I don't sit around and count my affirmations, but anything you say or think is an affirmation. And when things start manifesting that I've been affirming, I figured, well, I probably went from 499 to 500. But the thing is when you think about the normal day of any hour of any day of any life when you're out there, or even in your own apartment or home watching TV or listening to the radio, whatever, you're being bombarded by, unless you're in like a very secluded chamber, you're going to be bombarded by like riding down a bus, driving down a road, all kinds of billboards, ads, buy this, do this. So these are all things getting into your subconscious, subliminally, TV ads telling you that you have a virus that's going to kill you. They leave out the part that you have knowledge, has simial knowledge, simial science. We're still in the semen stage as far as knowledge goes. That's how simial science is, but seminal rather science. Yeah, so it's time now to, so as I said years ago in my 30s, I studied with the Tibetan monks, most of them. I was so blessed, I didn't realize at the time, you know, that they were children when young monks in the monastery when Tibet was slaughtered in the 1950s by the Chinese, and the Chinese are still giving them a bad time, but that's another story. Pray for them. And and then when I met them, they were like nobody knows how old. They come over, they don't even speak English. The pearls were broken, and the Tibetan monks went all over the world. And I got the ones that came to San Francisco and would go to lectures at the Laguna and Laguna there, the Laguna Street, the Zen Center. You know, every time I walk by that building, I bow. Bowing in front of anything beautiful is a very holy thing. It's a good practice to get into. It shows your respect for things. I'm always bowing in front of birds. Oh, flowers. Every time I'm walking down the sidewalk and I see a field with wildflowers, I put down my bags and I go, oh, it's so good to see you. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Earth laughs in flowers." I think of all the people that are gone now that sent me flowers or would make sure I always had flowers. I had a very wonderful friend up on Nob Hill, she's long gone now, who had a garden up on top of her building in Nob Hill. And she would make sure I always had flowers. I would take care of her dog every now and then. And, so yeah, I love flowers. I love all kinds of flowers. I commune with them quite a lot. So yeah, Neptune, all you Scorpios out there, get ready, because in October, Jupiter's going to be bringing you a lot of gifts for a whole year. So start making room for all the gifts Jupiter's going to give you. And Libra people, Jupiter's going to give you tenfold whatever you're focused on. Don't make it all full of clever conversation, because you don't know what's going to make you happy. You have an idea, you'll steer the boat in the right direction, but you know, you want to make God laugh, tell her your plans. You know, Mother, Father, God's going to do stuff, you know, so your job is to just keep your margins very permeable. No thick margins around you, leaky margins. So life is wonderful. Everything is perfect in my world, and I'm always moving into greater good. Say that 500 times. Another good one is I am the love and the beauty of life in full expression. That's another good one. I trust life. I am perfectly safe. I found a good Tutu, Bishop Tutu, rest his soul. He said, when the missionaries came to Africa, they had the Bible, we had the land. They said, let us pray. We closed our eyes. When we opened them, we had the Bible, they had the land. God bless you, Desmond Tutu. I love you. Yeah, I'm not into book burning, but there was one book that should be burned. It should be the Bible. We got to get the government. We got to get God out of government. It's not like it's been there a long time. I mean, it was like the country went really well for a couple of 100-something years before 1956 came along, and 57. That's when they did it. That's when they put the dollar bill, God on the dollar bill. Yeah, so that's so much for Desmond Tutu there. Love you. So that's what's going on with this full moon. The sun and moon squares Neptune tomorrow, while Saturn continues to square to Chiron's the wounded healer planet, and also very mystical. That's why so many people are having these contemporary mystical experiences. And you can't even like tell your best, dearest friend about it, because it's like, because you want to share. We're all good. We all want to share, you know. But it's like trying to reheat the best cup of coffee you ever had in your life. Yeah, I drink a lot of Rubio's tea or just hot water, but lately now that my liver's all healed and everything, I'm permitting myself this last year to have a couple of cups of coffee in the morning, and I just love it. It's just such a wonderful thing. You know, years ago when I lived in Guatemala, in the jungles of Lake Atilan, there, these guys they work their whole lives in the coffee, but they don't ever see a cup of coffee. It goes right out of there as fast as it can. In its highest expression, okay, so Chiron's in Pisces. That's a big deal. Everybody's senses are overblown. See, I think one of the most challenging, notice I didn't say problem, I really monitor what comes out of my throat chakra, but a lot of people don't understand the power of the spoken word. But what it says here about Pisces, the challenge of this full moon, lights up the theme of the personal and collective truths. We're confronted with delusion and denial, deception, shadow Pisces. We may need to move through veils of illusion and layers of heavy emotion before we can feel to know the truth. I would really wish everybody, I've been so in love with this article, and then it dawned on me the other day, Emily Trickus. I like Emily Trickus. Around 10 years ago, I was communicating with her via email. I just got my first computer, so it was a long time ago. Well, I just started here, so it was 8 years ago. And she hasn't been writing in the Mountain Astrologer much, but she's now writing columns again, and I'm really happy for that. Emily, good for you. She lives up in Oregon, and 8 years ago she had a nice relationship going. And I think I didn't come right out and say I was gay, and a lot of people don't actually know I'm gay until I tell them. And I think she was sort of thought I was hitting on her or something, because I asked her, if you're ever in San Francisco, please come on my show. And I don't say that for many people, but I gave her an open invitation. But hopefully I'll send her another email and tell her how much because I haven't seen her in print for over a few years now. So she's a Virgo. I remember that. So Neptune's been in opposition to all you Virgos out there. Neptune's been in opposition to your sun, or will be. So you're either are or will be higher consciousness. So I move your energy up a few chakras. You know, you can only eat so much. You can only have so much sex. You can only, every now and then, you got. We become a gluttonous society. More is better. Doctors aren't happy anymore with just one big house, one big car, one big whatever. They got to have several big homes. You know, you see all these evangelistic priests, you know, people racking in billions of dollars, and they show these aerial views of their compounds, and it's like, how, unless you got a mother-in-law with like 500 friends, what does one person need all that space for? You know, on the bus ride here, I take the number 9 from Market Street, and now there's a whole new tent city, and there's no reason why every human being on this planet should not have a place over their head. And this government housing stuff, so many people tell me stories about they had to get rid of their goldfish, their aquarium, they had to broke their heart because they had 2 cats and they were only allowed 1, or they had 2 dogs and 1 had to be put to sleep. I mean, there's some crap going on. You know, nitpicking, bureaucracy, you know, in a way. Yeah, so we got to lift everybody up, you know. We might all have come on different boats, but we're in the ships, rather. We're in the same boat now, you know. E pluribus unum, out of many one, you know. So instead of being venomous about these blatant sick liars, just see them like you wouldn't be. You know, you see crazy, if you're living in a city like San Francisco, you see very mentally ill people just on the course of walking through any 5 minutes, walking down, 2 minutes walking down any street in big city USA. You're going to see some definitely, and we could keep in mind when you see these people, thank Ronald Reagan. It was Uncle Ronnie who started this whole, who closed the, now you have to be a felon to get into a prison to get medication and help. What's wrong with that? I mean, did you hear the words that just came out of my mouth just now? Mentally ill people have to do something criminal to get into a prison where there's a ward for criminally violent, insane. I mean, this is like, phew, you know. No, this is paradigm changes that happen. You know, even though I'm not condoning anything that's going on from an astrological point of view, from a big picture, when I look at it from my non-local space, excuse me, how necessary is this? Remember, Pluto and Uranus. Uranus is the liberator, and Pluto, nothing even resembles what it used to look like before Pluto is through with it. Well, those two are not squaring anymore, but they're still within an 8-degree orb of a square, so we're still feeling the fallout. Excuse me, the changes from that are still happening. So every day be teachable. Like the alpha dog, you know, the head dog will take the alpha dog will say one of the pack dogs gets out of line. He throws him over on his neck and then bites him on the neck and, you know, tells him, hey, this is how it goes. Actually, I trained my dog Chelsea like that. I would walk down Haight Street and she would be doing something she shouldn't do. And I put my bag down and I'd flip her over and bite her neck and go like this and growl. And people would walk by saying, what is this man doing? But she ended up, we were together 14 years, and we will see each other. She's waiting for me on the other side. Yeah, everybody's, see, we don't praise sensitivity. We actually take people so they don't be sensitive. Like I was saying, Bernie Sanders was the only one that ever said anything that spelled it out. The reason there's so much pain is because people are, people use drugs. There's an epidemic of, they don't want to just get high. They want to check out. They want to be numb. And then the rest of them want to be raptured up to be with Jesus. I don't know what that's all about. Yeah, both Venus and Mercury entered their ruling signs. Luscious Venus enters earthly Taurus. That was yesterday, where she is at her most tactile, expressing affections through hugs, massages, sensual touch. This is only going to get more intense as we get to the summer solstice. The summer solstice. God, time flies when you're having fun. With Venus also ruling what we value, money is best tended like seeds. Riches grow slowly in this mythological sign, but patience pays off. Yeah, so many people want instant gratification. Well, I said that affirmation a few times. No, try 500. Keep that in mind. Just remind yourself when you're tempted to jump on, beat that drum of, bang that drum of negativity and cynicism. Stop it. Just knock it off and start repleting it. Say anything. Just get anything that puts you in a better light. I brought Louise Hay's book right here. You could heal your life. What's another big thing? A friend of mine the other day said he just had a stroke. Thank God he's not physically paralyzed, but he said it affected his brain or something. He had all these tests done. It was a very mild one. But a lot of people are just my age are totally free, either recovering from or live in constant fear that it's just a matter of time before it happens to them. Wellness, man, wellness. Don't get sick. Okay, so what are we talking about? Stroke, ST, suicide. Seeing life only in black and white, refusal to see another way out. Swelling, being stuck in thinking, clogged, painful ideas. My thoughts flow freely and easily. I move through ideas with ease. Okay, so stroke. I don't want people to worry about me. I don't have a car. There's nothing wrong with my lungs. It's usually when the seasons change, or like now it's very humid in San Francisco. I buy locally grown Civic Center honey, and I adapt myself. It adapts me, but I haven't done that yet. So it snuck up on me. Stomach. Cardiovascular stroke, cardiovascular accident, giving up, resistance, quote unquote, rather die than change, rejection of life. Life is change, and I adapt easily to the new. I accept life, past, present, and future. I accept life. People who can't sleep at night, they're taking all these troubles to bed with them. And then, you wake, I release the day, and the day is gone. Boom. And you're out cold. I give my angels permission to deal with all that. I'll pick them up in the morning, have them all pressed, no starch. Stomach holds nourishment, digests ideas. I digest life with ease. Stiffness, rigid, stiff thinking. I am safe enough to be flexible in my mind. Oh, we got a call coming in. Hello, thank you for calling.
Yeah, hello, Frank.
Hey, ¿qué pasó?
Just wanted to add everything that you're saying, but I'm adding on to it.
Yeah.
Food itself.
Yep.
Like for stroke, I recommend organic pears as a preventative fruit. It's some of this information that comes out of a reference book that I have called The Encyclopedia of Healing Foods.
A few years ago, I was really into banana tea. You get an organic banana, and then you wash it, and you trim it, and then you cut it into quarters, and you boil it for 10 minutes. And it's, of course, 90, some high percentage of magnesium is in the skin. And then and potassium, and it gets thrown away. And I remember doing that a lot and feeling really good, especially like a few hours before bed at night. It puts you right to sleep. And the other day I was flipping through the channels, and there was Dr. Oz making banana tea, and I went, wow. So I put it on my Facebook page, and I hope a few of my friends were trying it. But every day be teachable. But yeah, so Chinese believe medicine, what do you call it? Food is medicine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's either slow poison or it's going to heal you.
The more you learn from various sources. I mean, it's like anything else. You have to collect sources and compare them. Mm-hmm. You learn some basic ideas, but you learn specifics also. Like, eating an avocado, when you get rid of the outer skin, it's okay to eat a non-organic avocado. You've pretty much.
Yeah, I think in avocados that's true. And another thing that most people are, we got to grow up as a society. But I know this for a fact that if you're having any kind of prostate problems, avocados are God's way. Because if you notice, they're like human testicles. One is always a little lower than the other. I spent a lot of money back in my 30s going to all these classes and studying with all these people about nutrition. Because after Kathy Acker died in '96, I said, I'm not going to be a fortune teller. I want to know why people are dying from these things. And that's when once you open that, it just
Well, it's basically you have to become informed. Now, to complete that thought about the avocado. Okay, people might say logically, well, okay, by peeling the skin off of a potato, they don't have to worry about pesticides. But a potato grows differently,
that's right,
and the pesticides get inside of the potato.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to get your potato from a good source, but you have to learn each individual food if you really want to eat as healthy as you can. And it requires a lot of research, like most things.
Or listen to your body. It will tell you intuitively. It'll tell you exactly what you ever get those urges, like all of a sudden, I don't know why, I need a cucumber. All of a sudden I'll get these, like, I haven't eaten this food for a while, and all of a sudden it'll just come to me like, oh yeah, you need, or the universe will just put it in my hands. I got 2 minutes to get out of here.
Huh?
I got 2 minutes to get out of here.
No, you actually just cut off as we were talking.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. They're showing the in-between screen right
Okay.
now.
Well, I guess we're out of here then. Oh, yeah, that woman's coming over here. She's going to, what's her name? That woman who screams at me, you're on my space, you're on my time. Okay. Well, thank you. I'm glad we were on the phone with that.
All
okay,
right.
buddy. I'm out of here.